Welcome everyone. Round 9 of the season. We are here in Italy. Again, back at it. I'm joined by Milo Gaming. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, Monza, the Temple of Speed, the fastest circuit on the Formula One calendar in terms of top speed and some of the closest lap times as well. It's going to be a good one.
So, basically with what we saw this past weekend already, crazy is all we could say. And how about already AMS tax to pole? That's pretty cool. He's not had a good season so far, so that's awesome. But we have seen a ton go on, and I want to keep you guys in mind. AMS tax and ABS Shard were the only people to try the toe last season, so keep that in mind for later on. Either way, I want to mention. I see sideways. I want to mention about Tier 3 and Tier 2, Milo. I'm sure you tuned into those races. I'm sure you raced Tier 2. But Tier 3, a cluster at Turn 1, a mess there. But Fiery King took his first win. Ditto on the podium. CJ Pants in third. Then, with all that mess, we had Spence from the race lead. The net P1 at least. Davis, Raptor crashing. Luke B in contention for his first win. But then, Tier 2, Kagoda goes out and wins it. Adam Fav, questionable driving by him yesterday, but either way, the way it was, championship contenders, Pluto were in trouble, Adam Fav were in trouble, and just like Tier 3, even Chevy Giant was in trouble, Davis was in trouble. You know, last season, Milo, many championship contenders were in trouble. We saw so much trouble hit the championship contenders already, except for Kagoda. What do you basically say about these races so far this weekend?
Yeah, Tier 3 really had me on the edge of my seat from the word go. Turn 1, like you said, it was a massive pile-up, at least involving 3/4 of the drivers, most getting away without damage, so that was the really only positive thing about that. But yeah, just anything could go wrong at Monza. Such high speed, so easy to lose the car with the low downforce setup, so easy to just overshoot corners which you'd usually take at a different sort of speed. So, sorry, Ricochet, I was on board with him. He gets sideways out of that very tricky Ascari sequence, which many drivers have been victims of throughout the course of the past week. There's been a lot of leagues running Monza, so including LDRL, where Rizal almost completely binned his first lap.
Either way, the partner league as well, GSR, I mean, you mentioned LDRL, what a great race that was, 6-7 cars in the train by the end, you know, a bunch of back and forth, you know, it was great, and especially what we got to see for a preview here is incredible. Now, we had GSR, their finale of the season, they still have the mini-season going on, Bahrain was their finale, Boker won that, barely beat Jack contended with him at Bahrain, so does that give Jack confidence to, you know, maybe say, hey, I can contend with Boker today?
My word, Jack has been brilliant, but he's crossing the line and takes that provisional pole back away from Tax. Unbelievable lap from Jack. But yeah, he has been on another level recently. Britain and Italy, he has been on fire, contending for podiums, contending for poles, almost took a surprise pole in LTRL. And was fighting for the podium, but unfortunately had a track limit penalty. So that's something he does need to work on, because that also did cost him Silverstone, unfortunately. So I'm excited to see what this Racing Point driver can do, as they've really stepped up their game in that team owned by GSR Axe.
Yeah, so Tier 2 yesterday, the podium was Kagoda, Milo Gaming, and Pluto. ZZ Boss plays the reserve, fought for his first podium, missed out on that. So, we might see some drivers fight for their first podium today. Tax is yet to get one this season. Rapalucas yet to get a pole this season as well. Sam looking very good in this qualifying session. So is Graham, sitting 7th as well.
Oh, Cody.
Look at how close the session is.
I don't know what's happened to Cody, but he's had a moment going into Lesmo 1. He's back underway though.
So let me go over the point standings and some of the fun facts so far. Point standings, Milo. Mr. Boker, 41-point lead after losing the win last week. Rapalucas getting it after a post-race penalty handed to Boker. So how key was that? And John, 90 points behind. And then there's that battle for P3. John, Rizone, and Sam Steeden. There you go. Boker at the top now. 119.0. Faster than last season's pole time. Either way, the top 3 in the standings, you see right here. What do you think with those guys?
Yeah, Mr. Burker, his insane start to the season, capitalising on Rapalucas's mistakes, is really what's brought him 41 points ahead of Rapalucas. But now the field has just compressed so much into an unreal battle every race for pole, unreal battle every race for the win. The season's just evolved, much like the real life 2019 season, where it was just Mercedes 1-2, Ferrari slipping, and then they fight their way back into it. And there's third place in the championship. John goes into the 1 minute 18s. He is not really in championship contention, let's be real. He's almost 100 points back from the leader. But maybe next season, he'd be consistently contending at the front.
Yeah, he could be. F1 2020 is a big change. I'm sorry to cut in there, but I was just going to say, ABS Drive got a slipstream from Tax. We saw this last season. This will be the second season in a row they both slipstream each other. But Renault, Williams, 40 points between them and the constructors. Renault been kind of working back together to get up to the front. Williams kind of just really one card, not really expecting DW to have this bad of a season already and not be at the front. You know, I mean, LDRL, not a good race from him. I mean, straight line to chicane, really. So that didn't help at all. I mean, he wasn't the only one, so that didn't help either. But regardless, still, you had him, who is down.
Oh, Tax spun around. Jarvis tried to slipstream him, but that's out the window. Sorry.
Either way, 22 of the 31 drivers have scored points this season. So, 11 drivers still in contention for the championship. The championship could be won as early as next week. But there'll probably be around about 5-6 drivers at most getting out of contention today. But with how close this qualifying session is and how today is already, who knows what this could be like. Multiple drivers who were in championship contention last season got into trouble. We saw the mix of things. We saw Tax down there last season. He was in championship contention. Rapalucas as well. DW as well. F1 driver, I think, was the only championship contender who really did good, and he won the race. Ricochet down outside the points. There was so much championship trouble last season.
It is really a turning point in the season. Obviously, we saw yesterday as well, Adam Fav hitting some trouble, making contact, going for moves, clashing with Pluto, another championship contender. So yeah, it could, honestly, today could be absolutely ridiculous for the championship. We could see position changes throughout the field. We could see, like you said, surprise podiums. Maybe Axe can try and contend for another podium. You never know. Even from 13th, where he cousin is Iron Axe 10.
Yeah, 8 different drivers on the podium this season. That's something to bring up. Not as much as last season at this point, but regardless, it's still pretty cool considering the domination we saw Boker already. So a lot of things have changed. I want to go over first time there was a late race safety car. It was at this track. This is the track that provided the late race safety car, the great race with that last season. So 3 different winners in the last 3 races. Rapalucas last week, and we also had before that we had Boker and Rizone. F1 driver was the winner last season. Axe on podium. Axe was on podium in GSR here with the win, and in LDRL he was on podium earlier this week.
What really got him to those positions was track limits. Very easy to cut the likes of Ascari, turn 1 as well, and turn 4. So if he can just avoid that today, he could once again be on for a very good points position. Don't rule him out.
Yeah, don't rule anyone out, because today could be a day where we see a lot of championship trouble. Guys who are in the top 5 in points. You know, not really championship trouble as much, but it could be just really Rapalucas, Boker. Or even the big 3, Rizone, Boker, Rapalucas. It could be the big 3 out of all people. It doesn't have to be championship drivers. It could be them. Well, I think Iron Axe is coming to the line. 14th right now. Goes up to 10th. Where does the Renault go? That's Mr. Boker. To the top.
Wow.
118.7. Can anyone beat that?
Rapalucas next.
99 thousandths up. Where does he go? Goes 3rd.
3rd.
McLaren behind that. That's GSR Typhoon starting his lap. The Renault behind, I believe. No, that's the Haas Rumbly Fungus on an out lap. Oh, Rizone retiring. Already, Mr. Boker at the top. You know, Mr. Boker said he was not feeling well. He was feeling under the weather. So, already, good by him. Proving, you know, really shocking us with that. It's so close between the whole field, really. I mean, wow, this is insane.
Not too sure why Rizone's retired. He could have easily gone around for another lap. And he is definitely one of the quicker drivers around this circuit from what I've seen this week from him. So, that's a bit of a surprise. He's got work to do. And Sam, Graham, Cody, everyone behind, I'm sure they've got time still in them. Slipstream will help with that as well, so he's really missing out now.
GSR Typhoon has been out. There's a Toro, so coming to the line, I think that was Atlantis. There's two Ferraris coming to the line. Sam Cena, Ricochet, don't improve in that time. But I think they're going to be trying a toe down this front straight instead. So, behind that, there's an Alfa Romeo driver. That's F1 driver on an outlet. Polo got an outlet. Get crazy. In this session, we have 48 seconds left for us, but I know there's more time left for the drivers. This is when things will get crazy, and yes, the race is going to be dry.
Tier 1, of course, being the only tier to vote for dynamic. The other two getting scripted and being rewarded with some dry races, so...
Last corner. Something happened there. Look at the last corner.
I think it's backing off. Yeah.
This ain't going to be good at all. They're all bunched up. ABS driver in the mix.
Ricochet
Haas.
up.
Probably Fungus, yeah. The Red Bulls.
Sam's gone off.
Cody starting his lap as well. The McLaren coming to the line. That's Corey Marshall starting his lap. Checker flag is waving for us, but it's not fully done yet. Atlantis is 7 tenths up. Can he get ahead of Jarv? Does he? Yes, just barely. The Ferrari's coming to the line. Sam Steen and Ricochet. Ricochet.
Stays 15th.
Yeah. The Williams of DW. Starting his lap. The Racing Point as well. I believe that's Jack starting his lap. Everyone's starting their lap. Cutting the chicane.
F1 drives 3 tenths up.
Oh boy, he's gonna do good with this one, hopefully. The Alfa Romeo drivers, Polo guy coming to the line. Goes up to 11th. Not enough. Where does F1 driver go? Sitting 4th. He won this race last season. This is where his last win came. He's yet to get a pole position since last season. Where does he go? Coming to the line. He goes to the top.
Done it.
He's done it.
Oh, wow.
Alfa Romeo at the top again. The two Mercedes are slipstreaming. 6 for tax right now. But where does Jarv go? Jarv 2 tenths up is going to pass Atlantis, I think. Yes, he does. 17th. The Red Bulls, where do they go? John is down. Doesn't go faster. Cody doesn't go faster. The Renault.
Jack's getting a major slipstream, but he's getting held by his teammate.
Around he goes. Around he goes. It's Ascari.
Unbelievable. That was a major slipstream that could have decided this qualifying, but they made contact at Ascari.
And EW is 5 seconds down, so this is going to mean that F1 driver's on pole ahead of Boker.
Last season's winner.
And this pole time was almost 4 tenths faster than last season. How the pace
Yeah, it was AI.
How the pace is improved.
It was Axis AI.
Wow.
That turned around Jack.
17 drivers within a second of each other. And look, not even that. Look how close 5th through really 12th is. Really, almost 2 tenths between them. That's insane. F1 driver back on pole position, where he started this season out last season. He started it out with a really good qualifying at Spa into this league. He's been having a bad season. Talk about the unluckiness. Ken today, he turned it around.
John Mr. Boker. Oh no, there's a McLaren! Oh. Sorry, that was too funny to ignore.
F1 driver a surprise pole position. How about that? It's insane by him.
Only half a tenth separating him from Mr. Boca.
4 drivers in the 118s. Milo, how about you go down through the order now?
Yeah, so F1 driver last season's race winner is on pole ahead of Mr. Boca, who will join him on the front row. John will start third place. He is a race winner this season, as is Rapaluca, so a very competitive top 4. Jack could have had the pace for pole, but only starts 5th. AMS Tax, a very good qualifying for him in 6th. Rizal missed out on the final run in 7th. Sam Steed starts 8th. Graham starts 9th. Iron Axe, 10th. I said that wrong, starts 10th.
Outside the top 10 was Polo God, DW, some big names out there, as well as Atlantis as well. But holy cow, we are on for a good one. I know this race is dry, like they said, so we are on for a good one. We are really on for a good one.
I don't have popcorn. We need popcorn.
Oh my god. Well, here we go. We're almost readying up. Milo, I'll let you go through your favorites once you have a chance. I need to go do something quickly, so once I'm back, let me know who you've chose.
So once we start the formation, I will run through 3 of my favourites, and obviously it's just all a formation lap around here, so I'll try and get it done as quickly as possible, just so P&B can get some. I'm going to go and start off with, of course, F1 driver. Pleased for him to see him back on pole position. He had really good pace last week in Silverstone on the alternate strategy after a qualifying ban, and now once again he has a chance to prove himself. So he starts on pole. I'll be rooting for him to try and hold on to this win because it will be mega. Rizone, he starts 7th. Like I said previously, he missed out on a final qualifying run after retiring, and I know what race pace he can hold. He can possess. So he'll try to use that to his advantage, and we'll also go for Jack. Like I said, he made contact in qualifying with his teammate Axe in AI, and obviously got the slipstream that could have decided if he was starting higher up or not. So yeah, there are my 3.
Those are your 3, alright. Well, I gotta go with John here, City P3. P3 in points. He's kind of missed 2 races though when he came in. He came in brand new driver this season, so a lot is looking to change for him. He's starting P3. He's gonna have that toe into turn 1 from F1 driver Boker. How can he sit here in this train? He was leading last week with Jack and Rizone, the amazing battle with them. Can he keep that amazing battle at the Temple of Speed here in Italy? I'm gonna go with AMS Tax. A great run right now for him. P6. You know, best start this season so far, and almost spinning on the formation lap, but though we warming him up. But AMS Tax has not had the best luck this season. Very unlucky, not very good on the off traction. So he's kind of changed a little bit, and so far running very good here. I got the toe from ABS. Oh, okay. I got the toe from ABS Jarv, and that's what set him up to get 6th as well. He did the toe last season as well. So yeah, that's pretty good for him. And I want to go with Iron Axe sitting here in 10th. Podium in LDRL, podium in ARL last season, both P3s, and a winner in GSR. Who do you hold off to do that? Rumble Fungus. Who do you hold off to do that as well? Felipe, who made his first start here last season, who came 2nd to F1 driver. He needs to do a lot here if he wants to have a podium. He's starting down in 10th. Can we even see a driver who's outside the top 10 take a podium?
Well, it's to be revealed.
And medium tires, DW, Cody, Rumble Fungus, and ABS Jarv for the mediums. 5 red lights upon us. The Temple of Speed, the fastest racetrack on the calendar. Here we go in Italy. 5 red lights upon us. Here we go. We are away. Lights are out. Away we go. And there's a car
Oh,
stuck.
Charles Russell's gone nowhere. Safety car.
That's his own.
He didn't go anywhere. Sorry.
That was quick. That was quick.
Well, that neutralizes any turn 1 carnage.
Yeah. Well, we already had some carnage. Oh, and Typhoon disqualified for blocking the pit lane.
I think that's an illegal overtake. He's tried to serve the illegal overtake, but clearly been done for going too slowly or something with the safety car.
Both McLarens are already out of the race. And Ellis Roderzone is just sitting there. Now he's back on the track. He's disqualified as
he's
well. Two
disqualified,
drivers disqualified. That really screwed a lot of people over. That was not good.
I'll be tailing off afterwards, I suspect.
Yeah, that won't be as
Not
well.
ideal.
That's
Iron Axe to 6th.
yeah. See the positions gained. 4 for ABS Jarv, 3 for Fungus, 3 for Cody, 2 for Polo, 1 for Graham. DW lost 2. Yeah, I don't know. That is, yeah, that was a joke, as people said. That's not good. Factor Zone just sat there. Yeah. I don't know what that was. I don't know. Yeah, some people were requesting a restart. Milo, what would you think? Just your opinion.
I mean,
I don't know.
the 17 driver's still running, and could have been a
Yeah.
whole lot worse if the safety car didn't come out into turn 1. So I think this needs to be accepted.
Yeah.
Things like these do happen.
I do. At least there's a safety car out of it, though. You know, that's the good part, I
Yeah.
guess. That you can recover. Well, racing kind of paused from that. Yeah, so find out.
DW's gone for a wing change
Mediums for Sam.
onto softs.
That's weird. I don't know what to say about that, but I just saw Razone's car stop. That, you know, I don't think we've ever had that happen where a car just stops like that. But Cody's left the session. He's gonna have to get back in. Make
Try
sure
and
you
get back
reinvite
in.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume the safety car would be coming in next time, but racing pause so far. So first lap safety car, we haven't had one in a while. It's been a long time since we had a first lap safety car. So the racing has been paused. The racing has changed. Nobody gained positions in the first top 5 of the field. So no positions gained right there, but Iron Axe had a great start. He gone up to 10th to 6th, so good job for him. 5 for Jarvis already. Everyone's gonna have to sit behind Cody's AI, so that's not good. F1 driver leading the race. I believe that's the second time this season he's led the race.
Unfortunately, it's going to have to be a fat penalty, isn't it, for just abandoning
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah, that's
To an extent where it's disqualified 2 drivers, given drivers damage, caused penalties. There's a whole lot that's gone on there. That's a very severe penalty incoming. Things like that just can't happen.
well, we saw people go from the hards at this point around this time with the safety car. The thing is, I have checked Discord, but the thing is, like, Cody has gotten better already. But the thing is, about this, you know, Razone, I believe, said he had to go sometime during this race. The fact he had to go then, right at the start, and cause that's going to be a penalty for sure.
In
That
Cody,
caused
I did.
2 DSQ, well, the DSQ, GSR Typhoon's left, yeah, out of the race again for Typhoon. I mean, every start he's had this season, it's not going too well for him. It's really unlucky. And Razone as well, disqualified from him. I mean, quickest safety car could ever come out. Yeah, I would think so. Corey Marshall also DNF'd from this. I mean, 17 drivers left, but yeah. Well, we'll have to find out if the safety car is coming in this time or not. Polo is still catching up back to the pack after being 17th. Your F1 driver leads the pack. Boker Judge on the top 3. Yeah. Polo got, yeah, trying the Kagoda strategy. Yeah, possibly. Safety car. Will it come in this lap? Yes, it will. So, we're going to back up the pack here. How's F1 driver going to restart the race? But either way, this season, F1 driver, not a good start to the season. Only 2 laps led this season. So, I believe that was back when he tried a different strategy compared to the rest of the field. But I think his last laps really led was Germany. That I could say like that were actually like for position, not any strategy, something like that. Not any of that. It was Germany. So we'll have to find out. Anyway, we'll have to find out what the penalty is for zone after the race or whatever happens that caused a mess. Now, coming back to the green flag this time. When does F1 driver decide to poker? F1 driver's on the gas. He gets back going to the restart. Side by side for second. Third now.
Rapalukis has got a really good restart.
Trying to get in the slipstream of Boker, but side by side with John trying to pass into turn one.
And he goes down the inside.
We saw what happened between Pluto and Adam Fab yesterday. They keep it clean this time. Ooh, losing traction. Iron Axe by Tax. Side by side for P6, keeping clean. ABS Jarv and Rumbly Fungus for P9. Jarv in the points right now in the medium tires. Locking up in the chicane. ABS Jarv by Rumbly Fungus. DW by Cody. Cody down the order, still not back in the session.
Just sworn he joined. No, he's left again.
He can't take control, apparently. Well, I'm seeing.
Yeah, I'll invite him again. That was
Alrighty. Well, now Graham and Tax side by side into Ascari. Who's going to get on the better end of this one? Tax ahead. Tax was in the Ferrari last season. The Ferraris this season. Atlantis and Sam dropped down the order. Sideways there. DW goes by. In the gravel they go. Here comes Polo God at the back of the pack. Slipstreaming Atlantis. Gets by Sam. Polo might try to double overtake here. No.
Polo is on the hard tyres, which the likes of me, Kagoda, tried, ultimately got the 1-2 from it by going onto the hards, onto the very early safety cars. So Polo is in a really good position here. Hopefully he's learned. Oh. Yep.
Mr. Boker goes by.
Stop.
And position trades again at the front of the field. Now there goes DW off into the barrier. And BSC.
Virtual safety car. DRS will be enabled next lap because obviously it doesn't get enabled until 3 laps after a safety car period. So there's still very much a DRS train. You know, Boker will be turning on F1 driver John, and most of the top 10. So this will be interesting.
Polo God pass there. Yeah, so where Polo God's at, 7 seconds behind the pack. A pit stop around here, 20, 21, 22 seconds. So really Polo, if he keeps it out of trouble and doesn't have any issues, I think Polo is surely on for a good finish. I don't know where, but a good finish if he can keep the tires.
He's got to look after the tires, yeah.
Second
Just
gap
for
between the race lead.
reference, my tyres yesterday. Oh, sorry, Jack on the outside now of Rapalukis.
In the background, Graham and Jarv. Rapalukis stays ahead of Jack for a position for P4. Nothing changes there. DRS enabled.
DRS enabled.
Rumbly Fungus gets
Jarv
by
is
Jarv.
pitting.
Jarv, yeah, he is pitting. Now this train, remember, if you remember to LDRL, is Jack trying into turn 1. Down the inside of Rapalukis.
Oh, they touched.
Yatsuno. The back, LJ Rundle gets by Ricochet. Clean this time compared to Austria. Goes through. Jarv pits for the hard, so he's trying the Polo God strategy, but it's going to be pretty far back compared to where he was. Polo God did it at the right time, and DW is having to serve a penalty. So remember back to LDRL. F1 driver basically is in the Boker position where Rizone is in the Boker position. Or other way around. Either way, that train that there is behind him, they need to work together instead of trying to hurt themselves and catch. They need to catch Boker. Now Corey Marshall left the session already, out of the race already, and his McLaren. Yeah, so you need to work together if you're at the front of the pack. If you're within that train, work together. Try to catch Boker if you can, because he's going to pull away right now if you don't catch him. I'm sure you remember back to LDRL.
110 behind.
With the way it went, you know, it didn't go so good for drivers who were trying to battle. Now John, an F1 driver to the outside into turn 1. John goes through. The gap is 1.6 now. Rumbly Fungus trading positions with LSJ Rundle. LSJ Rundle up to 10th. So you see drivers going for the hards already, thinking they can make it all the way. Yeah, you know, that's what Kagoda and you guys did yesterday in Tier 2. That's what changed the outcome of all that. Rundle goes by Rummy Fungus.
On to lap to ninth after a qualifying ban. He's definitely avoided some of the carnage, but I think he did pick up a penalty on lap 1, which will have to be served when he comes to the pit lane, so he'll need to push as hard as he can.
Remember, with 5-second penalties, you can't just say, hey game, I don't want to serve this, just don't let me serve it. Well, you can't do that. Tack sideways off the Ascari. 1.6, that gap stays for the race lead. John gaining slightly back again. These guys need to work together to be able to, because John is basically pulling F1 driver, Rappalucas, Jack, and all them all along. That's what they need to do. For P2, F1 driver and John into turn 1. F1 driver down the inside. Rappalucas is there to challenge. F1 driver goes through. In the back, Polo guy goes by Rumbly Fungus as well. Rumbly Fungus switching back. Polo staying ahead. So where Polo is at, 8 seconds behind, he's staying at a decent gap, but when these guys pit, I'm thinking lap 11, lap 12, lap 13, around that area. Does Polo get to the front? What does Polo do? Because where the other hard runners are, some people pitted for mediums already. Where the other hard runners are, they're so far behind, I don't think it'll be enough. And you see these guys per second battling, trading positions. That's just slowing them down to Boker. Surely what
Ricochet overtakes Job.
I think John's got DRS disabled here. I didn't use it there. This is the worst track to get DRS stuck closed or stuck open. I noticed that. How John didn't have DRS enabled right there. And this all train right in front of them slowing down is all allowing Graham to catch up. And it will allow Polo to catch up pretty soon. And if he doesn't tire save, the last 10 laps will get a puncture hards. We're wearing out about 4% or 5% a lap when not tire saving. So there you go.
John does have DRS.
Goes by F1 driver from position. Championship rival Rappalucas, so that sitting in P4, winner last week. And Graham hits for the mediums.
Mediums.
Interesting. Cody a bit sideways off of turn 2 right there. Sam close to Rumbly Fungus for 9th, but Polo got 4 seconds behind 8th. And where Tax is sitting, Tax is within DRS. So if Tax can close into DRS, I think Polo God might be able to pretty soon. Or at least stay within that gap where he was. If they just stay in that gap where they were, they'd be fine. Separate them through Ascari. John, you see he's gaining, but the more F1 driver battles him, this is not going to help him at all to catch up. They need to catch up to Boker and work together and be smart about it. Tax caught this pack as well. You know, that's another car in contention. You know, I mean, the only guys who are on the same team here in the front 7 is the Racing Points. They can work. Top 3 actually.
Polo's only about
so
9 seconds off the lead. So he's going to gain so many positions.
Yeah. Where he's at right now compared to F1 driver, 7 seconds behind. You can see the difference. And Sam Steed goes by Rumbly Fungus into turn 1. Sam Steed is ahead. Outbreaks himself and gets turned there.
Oh, it's fun.
Atlantis hit him. Atlantis spinning Rumbly Fungus round. Rumbly Fungus with some damage. So, where John, Boker, and them come out, John goes hards. Rappalucas, Tax, and Boker go mediums.
Mediums can definitely make it.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he's curious about the length, if they waste their tires. If they waste their tires, is he curious about the length of the tires, so how long they go? Is he worried about, not another safety car coming out? What is he worried about? You know, I'm curious.
This is one of the only times I've actually seen, someone trying a different compound in what is usually a soft to medium. That's interesting.
Now where Polo's at compared to Boker, 11-12 second gap. You know, hards, mediums, you see the front guy is pitting. Axe stays out.
Axe has to. Teammate pit.
And Polo God will take a net P1 right now at this stage. So yet to pit right now is Cody. And so is Iron Axe. I believe Rumbly Fungus as well yet to pit. That is true. Now F1 driver coming out of the pits. Where does he come out compared to Boker and the rest of the field? Boker passes through. Now F1 driver close to John here. John going to get the undercut, but he's on the hard tires.
Rapaluka's coming steaming around the outside. Wow, they made contact.
And the rivalry between them, you know how much they get together usually. That could have been the 5th time this season they've got together.
He's coming at him again. He's gone full deployment on the ERS, but backs out.
Wow, that could have been dangerous. And that could have been horrible. You know, also I want to mention Sam has already pitted as well. He's on the mediums. Does Sam fight Polo God? Does Polo God let him go? This is really interesting on Polo God's strategy because this is different than everyone else. You know, what they've done. I was thinking when could go to pit yesterday, I was thinking, no way those are going to last to the end. But I thought, you know, those were 80% at the end. Polo God might be close to a puncture here, but he's trying what he can to win this race.
Yeah, Sam has definitely got to make another stop. There is absolutely no questioning that. We saw drivers who did pit onto mediums in the early stages. They had to pit again, likes of Silent, for example, GSR Silent. But Sam does take the lead. He's not hanging around. Polo will use him maybe to do a little bit of tyre and fuel saving, which is probably viable.
Keep him in his DRS, you know, keep him in his DRS. Do what you need to. Don't waste your ERS. Boker's low in ERS. Boker's kind of near where Sam and Polo are at, so that's good for Polo. But where Polo and Boker are
Someone's
at
got
right
off
now,
at turn 1.
9 seconds
I just saw on the mini-map Tax.
Tax, kind of the chicane.
Yeah. He tried his hardest. He'll appeal that.
And it wasn't for multiple warnings, so that probably will get removed without a race director, because that doesn't need a race director when it's just not multiple warnings. That's the difference, you know, with that. Rapalukas, F1 driver, John all close. 3 seconds between Rumbly Fungus and them, but where they are to Boker, 4 seconds. A big difference. I'm really curious to see what Boker's lap times are compared to Polo's here. Let me check actually the last few laps. Polo here with his lap times 124s consistently, 123.7 at his best. Boker where he's at 122.4 as he pitted last lap. Let's see what he gets this lap. He's massively improving, but the fact is Polo might be on for a better finish than what he could have been if he just does this right.
He's lost the DRS now to Sam though, which is what he would have needed. Fastest lap for Mr. Boker. Rumbly Fungus hitting.
So the only one you have to pit down is Cody, I think, at this point. And switching back,
F1 driver.
Into turn 1, F1 driver goes through, is ahead. So Rumbly Fungus goes on to softs and is going to go to the rest of the race on the softs. The only driver right now on the soft tires. Rapalukas close to John. Not enough though for a move because he's way too far back. Rundle close to Graham. Atlantis goes by ABS Sharp who corner cuts turn 1. Missing the corner. Both Mercedes drivers already done that. And Polo actually back within DRS of Sam.
He's pushing, but he can't afford to push too much. Those tyres will be in puncture territory by the end of the race.
Now where F1 driver is at 4 seconds, 4.8 behind Boker. He needs to catch. He cannot afford this. He needs to catch if he wants to win this race or even get this train back in contention because where they're at. Ricochet, 3-second time penalty, but now the second for the race lead. Polo out of DRS, Cody pits. John will have DRS into turn 1. He's on the hards though, so he's definitely going to go to softs if there's a late race safety car. He's going to definitely bet on that if he needs to do what he can to catch back up or, you know, change the running order here. I'm sure Polo would do the same, but he's in position to do so. Everyone really is. But Polo will be better with those softs. Now Rapalucas trying to the outside. We're here at turn 3.
Whoa! Down the inside. And he makes the corner. No, never mind. Multiple warnings.
Yellow flag, that is.
Yellow flags.
That's ABS Jarv, I think, going through turn 1 the way he was. So, now that this is being said, F1 driver has got out of DRS of Rapalucas in them. Interesting. And Boker's gap to Polo, 5.5 seconds. Let me check the lap times here. I'm curious to see what they are. 122.2-ish. Polo, where he is at, 124-ish. So, obviously Boker gaining about little over a second a lap. DW. Penalty for him. Rumbly Fungus on Jarv. Goes to the outside. Yellow flags. That's Cody around.
Cody.
At the Ascari corner. Jarv. Rumbly Fungus nearly losing it. Jarvin. Rumbly Fungus out of Parabolica. Or Ascari. Not enough for a move, of course, because he's too far back again. That's something we'll be talking about a lot. Now, Rapalucas closing that gap to F1 driver within DRS right now. Low ERS for Rapalucas, not what he needs. And Cody's out in the pit lane.
Retires in the pits.
Two retirements, 2 disqualifications already. Second between Polo and Sam. You know, Sam's kind of dragging him along here. 4.6 seconds between Boker and Polo God. F1 driver, 4 seconds to him. Rapalucas just barely within DRS as well. He's low on ERS compared to F1 driver, who has halfway ERS kind of. We saw a late race safety car last season, so I'm curious, do we see another one again this season, by chance? The front straight 7/10 between Rapalucas and F1 driver into turn 1, low on ERS, so that's not going to help him whatsoever. But John barely within DRS of him as well. He's on the hard tires, and Jack on the mediums, 5/10 behind. And Polo and Sam, their gap is staying pretty close, but Boker is catching up. Yellow flags. That's DW. Around. Out of Ascari.
Lost his wing.
Now for what the race lead is, Sam staying out. John takes a penalty.
He's level with Rapalucas now.
The only thing that's going to help Polo pull away from Boker right now is the fact is that Polo has DRS from Sam. It's not going to matter too much in ERS. It's going to be equal pretty much because of where they're at. It's going to matter on if Polo can stay within Sam and Sam can push him through. Jack and John tried going side by side through Ascari, but John has lost a lot of time to Rapalucas. The pack is kind of split up a ton. DW pits. So, Sam, does he go softly in like Silent did, where he would come out right now? Would be around a 9th, 10th place right now, where he would come out. Now that gap between Boker and F1 driver stays close. Oh. Into turn 1. Yellow flag up ahead. Tax, I believe that is no Jarv.
It is.
It is Jarv. Scary corner. Rundle goes into the grass! Into turn 1! Goes wide! Contact with Graham!
Oh. Yeah, multiple warnings. So he got a warning for that. I mean,
John and Jack! Making contact, wheel banging! This is surely not helping them catch up side by side through the Lesmos! Wow!
There was only just a car's width there. There. Sam's mediums are really starting to go off.
Yeah. It's Polo. Lap traffic they're catching. Here comes Polo into the Parabolicas. Boker started to catch up. John through ahead of Jack, but they've lost time. 3 seconds behind. Jack really nowhere close to the front pack then. Rapalukas close to F1 driver. F1 driver slightly gaining on Boker, but when does Boker gain on these guys? And yep, there you go. Rundle goes wide again, hitting the gravel out of Ascari. Ricochet just behind him. These two have some history from Austria. That didn't help it for sure, but them being close to each other, it's Graham, Rundle, Ricochet. Sam should be coming out around P9 here, around P9, P10. Around that little pack there.
Soft.
Which is going to work, I think. Sam comes out right ahead of this pack into turn 1. Sam might be near Rundle, battling Rundle into turn 1, near his teammate. For points. Jack and
Sam will be
John
a really good toe for Ricochet now.
Side by side.
Here they go.
Iron Axe is caught up as well. Here comes Jack. Whoa. Polo God leading his first laps of the season, leading his first laps since Britain last season, 11, 12 races ago. He can definitely be happy about that one for a positive out of this race if he loses this one. Now,
here comes Iron Axe. Backs off.
And another pack close for P9. LSJ Rundle, Graham, Sam Steed, and Ricochet as well. Jack is slipstreaming John into Parabolica, though. Not enough, of course.
1.3 now for the lead. The battle is on.
How does Polo defend from Boker? Polo and Boker collided in Hungary. Racing incident there. Now into turn 1. Jack gaining on John. Even ERS between the two. Into turn 1. Axe is there as well. Axe to the outside. John
down the inside.
Jack down the inside. Hits him off.
John's had to cut.
A little bit of contact.
Loses two
Sam
positions.
and Graham. And Ricochet and Rundle. Rundle down the inside. Graham going through contact with Graham and Rundle. 6/10 between the race lead. Yellow flags. That's DW out. Where is that? VSC.
Virtual safety car.
Where is that for DW? That's out of the Lesbos.
Got my hopes up them.
I know, I got my hopes up as well. And I think Graham has to let Rundle by. He has. And they have to let each other by again. Wow. Wow. What have we seen so far? And by the way, Atlantis,
imagine if the
15 consecutive points finishes might not make it 16 today. What were you going to say?
Yeah. I was going to say, imagine if Sam had a couple more laps on those mediums. He'd be able to pit under this VSC.
People are wanting Polo to pit. Does Polo pit here? What does he do? He's not going to pit.
Oh,
Stays out.
he had a think. Just go prioritizing track position, which is what I did.
DRS enabled. Rapalukas an F1 driver here for into turn 1. Where does
There
Rapalukas go? Go to the outside now. Into turn 1. Side by side. F1
And
driver stays ahead.
Him a little bit wide.
Iron Axe and Jack though. Iron Axe goes ahead of Jack. A
Here
podium
comes,
last season.
here comes
Iron.
Boker.
Side by side between the race lead. Boker goes through. And Polo sitting in P2 ahead of F1 driver. Can he hold on for a podium here today? And what does penalties look like? Mr. Boker, only 1 warning. Polo God, 2 warnings. F1 driver, nothing. Ricochet goes by Rundle. Graham and Ricochet as well. Graham staying ahead of Ricochet. Rapalukas trying on Rapalukas. Rapalukas trying an F1 driver. Not enough. They're within DRS range, and so is Iron Axe and Jack. ERS between those two, Axe has got it better. And Polo needs to stay within this DRS in case Boker gets a penalty, but Polo could easily get one himself. And what a smart... This reminds me of Australia. What a smart strategy by Polo to try this and think outside the box. Atlantis tried this at Australia. It was almost going to pay off. He was battling for the win, battling for a podium. He got P6, P7 out of this. Polo did this early in the race, so it might pay off if you don't get a puncture. And Jack goes by Iron Axe.
Sam, next up is Tax. For him, he's weaving a lot on the straight.
In the background, you see The Renault and the Ferrari, Ricochet, Rundle, and Graham. Ricochet down the inside. Outbreaks himself a little bit, but gets by. Sideways.
Rundle goes around the outside.
When did John pit? It was... Oh, I just noticed. He just pitted. Oh, when did he pit? Oh, we must have missed it then. I don't... Oh, my God. We're so focused on these battles, aren't we?
We are.
Goes to sucks. He's going to hope for a safety car at this point. That's what he's got to hope for. Well, 1.4 seconds is the gap between the race lead. Polo sitting in really a P2 right now. You think about what could have been the 1-2 from Hungary with Rizone, you know, having the penalties he had. After that, Polo, you know, what could he have done in Hungary? What could he have done? He had chances, such as Britain. He had many chances for podiums. He bottled them. 8 DNFs already last season. Only 2 this season. So, Rapalukas and F1 driver going back and forth on the straight. Here goes Rapalukas to the outside. Not enough, but the 2 teammates, Iron X and Jack. Iron X goes ahead of Jack. And behind that, Sam Seed and Tax. Sam Seed trying to go through on Tax. Sam Seed ahead. Rundle, Ricochet, Graham, 4P9. Now F1 driver surely going to... Polo got penalty.
Polo penalty.
Yeah, so F1 driver Rapalukas is surely going to catch up by the end of this race on those guys, but Polo is sitting in a good position unless you don't get a puncture. John, fastest lap for him, and Rumbling is trying on him. Not enough. Rundle and Ricochet going wheel to wheel. In turn 3. Switching back, Rundle. Goes to the inside.
Down the inside.
Forces him off.
Pushes him off. And he gets a penalty for that.
He's surely going to have a legal overtake. And yellow flags. That is ABS Jarve round. Adam Ascari. No safety car from that one. Oh man, I wish. Oh. Under VSC apparently he pitted. I didn't notice as well. I was surprised. And out he goes. At the final corner. I think that's a rage.
It's kind of in the firing line, so I don't know what the game will think of this.
Game might not think anything of it. I don't know. This is interesting. Iron X and Jack. Jack goes through. P5. And F1 driver closed the gap to Polo as well. Now Polo and F1 driver. Who was that? Williams. That Williams. Or Lucas. I thought that was a lap car of DW. I didn't think. Oh my God. See, my brain is messed up. You can tell. Rumbly Funk is speeding the pit lane, pitting for softs already. Rundle and Rick for P9. Going back and forth into turn 3. Rundle trying down the inside on Ricochet. Hits the back of him almost. And F1 driver closing the gap on Polo. But will we see some team play here between them? Rapalukas and F1 driver, they were close through Ascari. Now you gotta ask, is Ricochet's hards starting to wear out? Is Polo God's hards starting to wear out? For sure Polo's, but anyone else though for sure is a big question. Rundles, mediums, 15 laps in those. About to be 16 this time. You see how much John is really screwed over his race now. Rundle takes a penalty and might be too late for a safety car at this point. Off goes Rundle and Graham into the gravel slightly. The positions gained though. Polo God, 12 positions, 10th to 2nd right now. That penalty surely will put him back to 3rd, but he's got to hold off Rapalukas who has a penalty.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
People are saying driver of the day Axe in the chat, but I honestly think driver of the day Polo. You told me Polo was going to get a podium.
Idiot of the day goes to Axe for the contact and qualifying with his AI.
Yeah, Polo. Yeah, Crumpy Tripod. He said Polo if he doesn't get a puncture. Yeah, that's Crumpy Tripod, his teammate in RPL. So there you go. I mean, you got to think about that. Now F1 drivers close the gap to DRS within him. Yeah, if he don't get a puncture, he surely deserves driver of the day. It all depends. He's had a great run, and he's got to be happy about his pace today for sure. And, you know, he had a challenge for this win. You can't say he had a challenge for a win in Tier 1 since Britain probably, the last time he did. Maybe Hungary, but that's about it. You can't really say many other races he had a challenge for the win. Besides, I'd say Britain. And, yeah, Polo for no bottle. I hope so, man. I would love to see Polo on the podium again. Coming to
3 laps to go. Oh, F1 driver gets loose on the exit.
Here comes F1 driver. Passing
Rapalakis
Polo.
is going for it.
Maybe a double overtake might work. No, it won't. And Polo passed P2 to P4. A really bold strategy has really worked out. Iron X and Jack, though. Iron X goes by Jack again. The two Racing Point cars. How about Mr. Booker today? A dominant performance this time. Really worked this one out. Now, Graham and Rundle, though, go side by side for P10. Back and forth at it. Graham goes ahead. Rundle staying behind. Trying to switch back. Not enough. Rundle on Graham again. To the inside. Side by side. Force him off the chicane a little bit. Graham goes ahead. Now Polo losing time, losing out of DRS. Now F1 driver Rapalakis on the podium. We saw these guys on podium back in Spain. And Graham, yeah, 5-second penalty for corner cut, a gain to place. Forced off the racetrack, though. So that's going to be a big question there. John's caught up to this train for points. And we have reached 2 laps to go this time. JC Graham picks up a penalty. And Alanis doesn't look like he's going to score.
Here goes Rapalakis. Down the inside.
Oh, a little bit of contact.
Wheels.
Goes off. Contact again. You surely ain't going to hope these two collide because they collided before, and Polo's caught up a second to this. Now again, Rapalakis gaining on F1 driver.
He needs to try and back him up.
These two collided in Bahrain, Hungary, Australia. These two collided so many times. And Polo has got himself back to DRS. It's what he needs. Because Rapalakis has a penalty and so does Polo.
John is past Graham.
This time coming to the final lap. Mr. Boker, a performance that we won't forget. A race where he dominated, a race where he was under the weather. Rapalakis loose out of Ascari there for him. Polo's for sure. He knows these two have history. He's just waiting for these two to collide if they do. Right now, the two Racing Points in the background also waiting for them to collide if they do. Because you know it's a possibility when you get F1 driver and Rapalakis in the racetrack. Now, onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. Rapalakis gaining him for second. F1 driver might get off of penalties, but right now, Rapalakis wanting to pull away, wanting to get to him. Where does he go into turn 1? F1 driver protecting Rapalakis to the outside. Into turn 1. Side by side. F1 driver goes ahead and stays ahead. Jack and Iron Axe. Jack behind Iron Axe this time. Rumbly Fungus and Rundle. Rumbly Fungus goes by Rundle. Rapalakis gaining though for P2. And John and Ricochet. John side by side with Ricochet through turn 1. John goes ahead. Ricochet trying for the switchback. Not enough. Now through the Lesmos. For the final time of the Grand Prix, Rapalakis F1 driver stay very close, but they have the gap to Boker very sealed up for second, and Boker has got this win. Through out of Ascari. Where do they go? Into Ascari now. F1 driver staying ahead. Polo sideways in the last corner. Polo goes off! And the Racing Points almost collide at the final corners. Jack and Iron Axe to the final corners this time.
They go for position now.
Mr. Boker wins the race. 6 wins, I think, this season. Well, 6 wins in ARL. 5 this season. To the line. F1 driver Rapalakis.
Oh, the Racing Points.
Side by side to the line. Polo going to be P6.
Oh, Polo's 6. Oh.
Jack and Iron Axe,
wow.
though. P4 and P5. Rapalakis on the podium. To the line. Sam Seed spinning out in 7th. Tax to 8th. John and Ricochet. 9th and 10th. Where does Graham go? Unserved penalty. Might be passed by Alanis. Alanis just barely off of points. Not going to keep the consecutive streak alive. Rundle and Rumbly Fungus. P13, not enough. Wow, what a race that was. Wow. What a thriller that was.
Yeah, really thrilling, mate.
Especially between you and F1 driver going back and forth at it.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know why he went about 3 miles an hour behind the safety virtual safety car and lost about 3 seconds to James, but you know. Yeah. Oh, he had a brilliant moment. We were 3 seconds up on the Delta, mate. Fuck it, man. I was
Either way, though, that's
I was gonna remove the penalty, but like, there's no point because it doesn't change the outcome of the race. So, yeah. Unless Polo appeals his, I'll appeal mine, but I have no reason to.
just waiting for F1 driver Polo. Got joined. What a race that was for sure. Polo and you guys from.
Finish it.
Yeah,
I
fourth
would have
on
gone
track, though.
forfeit. I got completely bottled at the end.
Freaking hell.
If I didn't get that penalty, it would have been
Hey,
forfeit.
F1 driver, do you see the virtual safety car when the delta says 1.5 seconds plus? It means you have to go faster, not slower. Do you know
I
how
was
that
right
works?
on the edge of the delta.
Here we go
Then how
again.
did we end up 2 seconds
I was
behind James
0.1.
when you were right behind him?
Yeah, I was like 3 seconds.
Chill.
No, I was 3/10. I could have made the gap even more.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it was pulling away anyway.
yeah, but if we'd have been in his DRS, then he wouldn't have been pulling away, would he?
Good.
Oh, and nice defending
just
as well. Nice defending as well on the turn 1 as well. As a bloody brilliant.
Good.
To be fair, you know the second one where I hit you because I was on the inside. I was gonna let you go, but then, you know, I got power drive. Luckily, he didn't do quite a turn. I wasn't AMS turn, but yeah. That was great.
Either way, though, congratulations to you, Boker, on your win. Boker, 6th win in ARL. I guess redemption after last week, right? I guess you could say that includes your audio. What did you think of the race?
Yeah, that was good. VSC won it. Really, I don't know. I got past F1 driver easily. It was running quite low wings. I thought I wasn't really catching in the slipstream, but he was braking really early, so I almost got caught out on that 3x8 braking, but luckily I didn't get damaged. And yeah, I just decided to take advantage of that. Like late braking got the move done, and then VSC happened. So, and whatever he just caught him napping on the restart, really. So.
Yeah, what do you think he was doing on the restart car since you caught him napping?
Well, either Everton North was on the side of the track, or just, something else. I mean, yeah. I think I'll have to put it to Everton North on the side of the track, but, it could have been a number of different things.
So again, I'm gonna keep talking about it. You extend your championship lead. When do you think you won the championship?
Well, I think I can win it in Germany, right?
Yeah.
I think so. If it was before this race,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could.
okay.
But it depends on the points today with all
Yeah,
the
he pulled
penalties
10
happening and all
points. He gained another
Yeah.
10
51.
points, so it's 51.
You have to win the race, and I can't score 1 point.
Yeah, I just
Hold
need
up,
to
so
wrap it up.
fastest lap and pole point is 2 points together, so that's in 3 races. So
Yeah, but that doesn't
Spa,
happen.
Spa, USA, Brazil, that's 75 plus 6, so that's 81. So I think Spa's the earliest, I think. I don't think you can win in Germany. You need 30 points in Germany.
Well, lads,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to my soft qualifying at Germany. Soft tyres. I need a pole position actually, so I genuinely have nothing to lose.
Still no pose.
Yeah. And how many wins?
Get a champion.
No.
I'm just gonna get Grain to qualify and soft and do a banger.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Let's not get into the details, but I don't think Graham can beat me in qualifying, personally.
You never know. He could.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
Either way, Boker, how do you look into Germany and Spa? By the way, if you did not catch it, Spa was changed with Mexico for Tier 1.
Yeah, he was one of the people who voted, so pretty sure knew that was going to happen. But,
Yeah.
Germany and Spa, what do you think?
Well, Germany, I'm actually really good at that track. Well, I've improved it a lot recently. So if I can hook up the quali lap, I can probably get like a 10.6 in the quali. But turn 1, that's going to be a big issue. But I'll just have to try my best to get find the best way through turn 1. So I might have to do some sweating, which I don't want to do, but I can't get turn 1 right ever, so I just need to. Yeah. But other than that, I'm fast around Germany. I was really bad at the circuit, and it's really hard to get a penalty to. Obviously, if the zone race is there, that'll be, I reckon, a really good battle. And in Belgium, I think that'll be a really close race as well. But it won't be easy at all. But I think I'm capable to get the win there at both tracks.
Congratulations on the win today at Milo. Do you have any questions for Boker?
So yeah, 4 races to go. How many of those 4 do you think you can potentially take the win?
Tell you what, I'll go USA. Maybe Germany. It all depends on the zone in Germany. Because he's stupidly quick there as well. But I'll go for USA. I reckon I can win that. Because I think I can win that because I did a practice lobby with Chandler when I was faster than him on a setup from October. So, you know, I think I can move USA and Brazil. But if I secure the championship in Belgium or Germany, but I can't remember. But if I secure it in Belgium, I think I'm going to try the DSQ in quali to, try and get the record. Yeah, I think I can win.
Right now, our race ahead of Williams now in the point standings for constructors. What do you guys do to get the constructor championship now?
It's all about. I've just got to think of results. Dylan's got to be consistent with Williams. Williams could have been a long way ahead by now if Dylan actually wasn't so inconsistent. But it just depends on Graham for the next few races. If he can secure the constructors or not, because he's had quite a lot of unluck. Well, not a lot of luck in this season. So, yeah, I think we can secure the constructors for the race to go. It just depends if Dylan bottles it and if Graham gets some good results for the team.
Alrighty, congratulations on the win. Now to you, F1 driver who took P2. Best result of the season. So, you qualified on pole the first time this season. You gotta have a positive from that, of course. I mean, you didn't be able to stay with Boker the whole race. This is your best track, you said. So, how do you take positives out of this run today?
Yeah, I gave it my all, really. I tried to keep it as clean as possible, but obviously happened in the chicane twice. Not great. But yeah, getting pole position definitely gave me confidence.
To be honest, I think it was a bit of an ambitious move from my side. I just think it was.
I think that was probably both of our fault, to be honest. I think really
the first one
dived from
the
it
first
quite
one where
far.
I was on the outside. I reckon that one was your fault, but the one where I was on the inside, that was my fault. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us are really at fault there. It's just the layout of the track, pretty much.
Needs widening.
Bring back the
So
oval.
what do you think you could have done to win this race then, instead of just being second?
Not much. If I pushed any harder, I probably would have crashed, to be honest. I was always on the edge, outside, on the exit of Ascaria, over the place. So yeah, it's been quite tough. Bo could just run away with it as soon as he got past me. So, yeah.
Tell me about the battle between you and Rapalucas. Almost collided again between you two, but you guys kept it more clean this time than other races, for sure.
More clean. Okay. No comment.
Nah, but either way, tell me about the battle though. You guys kept it clean like I said, but tell me about the battle back and forth. Polo kind of was there with you guys as well for a little while.
Yeah, I think he did tell me his tyres did die off quite a bit near the end. So we just tried our best to try and get the best position we could. Originally it was probably going to be a 2-4 for Alpha, but then he got a penalty, so a bit unfortunate. Yeah, it did help out getting some DRS down the main straight. Yeah.
Heading into this race, you're behind Polo in points. You now overtake him in the championship. How happy does that make you that you're not behind Polo?
No hard feelings.
That's a bit peak. That's a bit peak.
Yeah. He's not
That's
that
a bit
slow,
peak.
chill. Yeah, it's alright. Obviously, it's nowhere near championship contention at this point, shall we say. So, yeah.
Heading into Germany, you almost won there last season. DW won that race last season. You came up short to him. So, how do you improve and win this race this season if you do win it?
First of all, don't get a drive-through. At Germany. And I don't... Germany isn't really my strongest track, to be honest. It's difficult, shall we say.
Well, congratulations on P2 today. Milo, do you have any questions for F1 driver?
Obviously, you've moved ahead of Polo God now in the championship. Where do you hope that you will finish?
Maybe top 5 if I'm a bit ambitious, but all just depends on how all the races go, to be honest.
Congratulations on your P2 finish. Milo, you go with Rapalucas and talk to him.
Rapper, well, obviously you had, again, further battles with F1 driving what has been one of the most dramatic sort of rivalries of the season. What do you think about that, and did you enjoy today's race?
Well, it was alright. Not, for me personally, not one of the best races of the season, but because obviously we were battling, but it wasn't like we were switching places lap after lap. It was more, him just staying ahead of me, trying to catch him. The one time I had a good run, he got DRS off Polo, so obviously I was never going to get through. Yeah, just a little bit frustrating, to be honest. I got held up in the pit lane as per usual. Yeah, but overall a decent race, good points. Keep up my podium streak thing. So yeah, it's not the worst race, not the best race, just average.
Okay then. I guess I'll ask a question. The championship, though. you're sitting in second. It looks like you're gonna get second, but you just never know. Anything could happen. So, talk to me about the races. You've been up there contending with Boker. Boker hasn't been as good, I'd say, as he was at the start of the season, leading as much as laps as he can, dominating the races. He's been
Don't have that.
no, but
have
seriously,
that
like
from
Boker's
PNB.
been more in contention with you guys though, instead of just the domination at the start of the season. So. But no, seriously, Rep Lucas, you guys have been more in contention with Boker. Jack has came more into the picture. John came more into the picture. F1 driver's been there a little bit more. So how do you guys attack him then, and say, hey, you know, you're gonna get the championship, but hey, let's get race wins instead. You know, I mean, we probably will see him win at the championship anyway.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know, he may win the championship or he may not win the sorry, he will win the championship, but you know, we'll, I guess, give our best to try to beat him. Because, you know, I mean, it's just at this point we're kind of racing for pride, just to more sort of more enjoyable than an actual, like, in a competitive sense, because, you know, he's already won the championship. But yeah, we just, you know, hope to have a few good races. Yeah, just enjoy them, I guess. That's sort of all it is now. Just enjoy the races, have some fun, and yeah, that's it.
The next few tracks that we come up to, Germany, you had a bad race there last season. Spa, you didn't race there last season. And USA and Brazil, you had podiums at. How do you look into those 4 races to finish off the season?
Pretty good. Spa is probably my best track out of those. Just one that I enjoy the most. But I also like Germany and Brazil's alright as well. So probably, you know, probably Reese and James will win those races, but you know.
Milo, do you have any questions for Rep Lucas? Congratulations on P3.
Yeah,
No, I don't have any more questions.
Alrighty. Polo God, what's up?
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, that voice crack. Oh my god. I'm gonna get
I know what
memed
my
for the rest of
question's
life for
gonna
that
be.
one. Yeah. Well, I'll steal it then.
Ryan will
So
probably
tire
steal
life.
it, yeah.
Tire life. Okay. So 25 laps on those hards. Tell me about that. You made those tires last. Kagoda, the other Mercedes Irish driver, you know, he made it last 80% at the end. What were your tires like, and how did you hold off there for a P6 finish? What was P4 on track, and what you battled for the first time for the lead since Britain?
The tires were like in puncture territory. Last I checked, which was like at the start of the final lap, it was like 81%. But all I was focusing on was just getting to the end without getting a puncture. I believe they were on like 85 on the left rear at the end.
So both Alfa Romeo drivers up in the top 6, up in contention for that win, for that podium. You know, both Alfa drivers, you know, were in contention today. So how does your team look at the positives to get higher up in the constructors, since you guys are around the 5th, 6th area?
I mean, it's quite good. Because, like, since both me and F1 driver, well, I wouldn't say we're, like, even. I'd say F1 driver is quite a bit quicker, but since both of us are up there, it makes Alfa Romeo like a more consistent team than, say, a team having like one really quick driver and then have one average driver racing. It's good that both of us have that dynamic, that we're even. I mean, I'm not the best, obviously. I obviously bottle it a lot, but I feel like today's been. This might come as a shock, but I feel like this is my best drive for this league. I'm even better than my Bahrain drive in season 1 and 2. Like,
James, how are the shoulders,
the
mate?
fact that I went 25 laps on those hards, I don't know how I did that.
James, how are your shoulders? You've been carrying a lot of weight recently. Yeah, man.
Yeah, just a few back surgeries, you know.
Yeah,
I think
might get a massive
when the season
massage,
ends,
yeah.
I'll have to have a whole a whole 5-day back surgery, so you won't be hearing from me.
Nah, fair enough. Nah,
Either
mate,
way,
five days after the season, you sweaty 2020.
Yeah, I probably will, to be honest. I'll probably bum it off for like a few weeks and then just, yeah. But to be honest, going on to 2020, I think the start of 2020 will be go with for league racing, but then just it all depends on the service really. Just that first lap, like I told Graham to like, because Reese is AFK, I said to him like, yeah, Reese is AFK, so just be like, everyone will probably get raped, so just be careful and yeah. And that just an absolute clusterfuck happened. So and he didn't get.
so Polo,
Well, he got a
I
5 second.
then gotta ask you, Reese. Before turn 1, he didn't go. It costed some drivers. That stuff. You guys had the safety car. You decided to pit. Whose strategy was that? Whose thought was it? Was that yours? Did you just try something bold? I mean, it paid off.
No, the reason why I did this, I went into AI mode on the safety car, and then I just look away for a bit, and then I come back and I see I have damage from Graham. Apparently, it looked like he brake checked me or something. I don't even know what happened. I didn't even send a clip in. I'm not even gonna send a clip in because I don't even know what happened.
I think it's your
So I
AI
was like,
drove into him.
my AI just drove into him or
Stupid
something. I don't know. But then I just decided. F1 driver was like, no, you don't pit for hards. But I was like, no, I'm doing it. I'm taking the risk. and somehow it paid off. I still don't know how I pulled that off.
What's that about? You don't want your teammate to do well? What's wrong with you, mate? Such
What the hell?
You know, just disgraceful, man. Just, expect better from you, man. You know.
So Polo, my last question to you. Then,
That was before
heading into
he
Germany
had damage.
the next 2 races. We head into those tracks. Germany, you didn't do too well last season. You almost flipped, thanks enough to Ryan. And then after that, at Spa, you almost got pole position last season as well. You almost were on podium, battled it, of course. So
Yes.
how do you look into those 2 races?
Germany, I mean, my qualifying, I'm not confident at all. I mean, it is a medium track, which, I mean, when I qualify, like, on one-stop tracks, I'm pretty good at, which is most tracks, because it's mediums. But, yeah, I'm kind of confident heading into Germany, in terms of race pace, because it is one of my best race pace tracks. And then, for Belgium, I'm really, really confident. I have a feeling I could, be up there, because it's one of my godly tracks, and yeah, heading into those 2, I'm quite confident, not too confident compared to like most like Bahrain or something or Brazil, but excited for the next 2 races.
Congratulations on a good finish and what really helped you a lot in that race with the hard strategy. Milo, do you have any questions for today's P6 finisher?
Sorry, I'm just mocking yesterday. Anyway,
Yeah.
obviously you did go down the
Funny.
pitting for hards route. We had to obviously save the tyres towards the end. It was the same with you. What measures did you take to make sure the tyres lasted?
I actually don't know what I think I just like I don't even think I tires that much. I think I just took it easy into some corners and certain laps just to try and keep the tires healthy. I actually think if that virtual safety car didn't come out near the end, I think I would have gotten a puncture. That was probably a massive factor into me getting P6, honestly. Also, another thing to mention, I'm really annoyed that I got that penalty. Like, all 3 penalties I got were, like, valid. Like, they were, like, valid, warning. It's just that I didn't get a single warning then afterwards. So, as soon as I, got that penalty, I was like, oh, no, I'm gonna get, like, P7 now. But, no, I somehow held on. But, yeah, happy with that.
Did you have a bottle in your room? Went off toward Ascari the last lap into the gravel.
Oh.
Were you having flashbacks then?
Oh, my tires just were dead. Like, there's not really much I could have done, honestly. Well, there is a bottle in my room, right in front of me, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I somehow saved it, but I don't think it would have affected my finishing position anyways because Jack and Axe were like 2.7 behind me, so it won't really change much.
Congratulations on P6 again. Milo though, the thriller we saw, the battles back and forth, it wasn't what we expected necessarily as Britain, but it was definitely a better race than most races this season that are like this track.
Yeah, obviously it could have been a totally different story if we didn't have a safety car about 1.71 seconds into the race, but overall it wasn't as bad as some races I've seen around Monza where nobody wants to move. Everyone does the exact same strategy. You know, people were being bold, they were pushing, and that's what we like. It was a very good race. I'd maybe argue that Britain was a little bit better though, just to
Oh yeah.
additional controversy with the post-race penalties, F1 driver going from basically doing a last a question mark challenge and fucking it up. Anyway,
Aravel will like you, good content for it. Last a question mark challenge.
oh my god, yeah.
10 minutes and 2 seconds. What a surprise.
It's like I are over here.
Either way, I was gonna say, the back and forth between positions, the trading positions, yeah, maybe they lost time to Boker, but it was back and forth battles we saw. It wasn't any moment where I think we saw nothing happen. I mean, besides between the pit stops, I think that was probably the only time that we saw really nothing happen, but it was all strategy at that moment. So it was pretty interesting to see these races fold down to the way it has. Heading into the final 4 races, what all happens. I mean, we saw back and forth action between the podium spot, the race lead a few points, really. We also saw the midfield as well back there. P9, P10, P11, they're always battling. Graham, Ricochet, Rundle, they're going back and forth. Atlantis as well, he was in there. John, when he pitted. All that, what happened. We see the back and forth battles. That's what we want to see. We want to at least see a battle. It don't matter if it's the front of the field or back of the field sometimes. It might matter if it's at least a battle, something to watch. So that's what matters. But heading into next week at Germany, what do you expect, Milo?
I like Germany as a circuit. It offers lots of potential for side-by-side action. To start the LDRL season, Reese was giving it everything with our lane. Teammates fighting for the win. Could see that with
Rapaloop is
Rizal at the
destroying
front,
Rundle.
depending on what he gets as a result of today's start. But there's a lot of drivers definitely in contention, and it's another circuit which offers close and competitive lap times, so expect a good one.
Yeah, we see pole, it was close there in LDRL. All drivers were all within a second, and I mean everyone in that top 10, top 12 were all within 2-3 tenths. So I expect the same thing here, honestly. If we see that, it depends what kind of session we have. Do we have a wet session? Do we have a dry session? Do we have a wet to dry, dry to wet? What do we have? We don't know what will happen because it's all for debate and it's all for what's going to happen when we get there. So we'll find out. Tier 3 is Friday, Tier 2 is Saturday, Tier 1 is Sunday again in Germany. What we could expect, we could expect someone to go off where Vettel did. We could expect, if it rains, just for example, we could see the turn 16 area, the turn 15 curve, where everyone went off in 2019 in the real life race. Turn 1, expect a ton of penalties. The hairpin, a lot of passes, a lot of overtakes, a lot of mistakes. We saw the Tier 2 race be very good last season. The Tier 1 was not as good, but it was definitely some action for 4th, 5th place between drivers going back and forth at it and switching places. The battle you said, our lane and Rundle, our lane and Rizone going back and forth, the 2 Renault teammates. If that's the battle we see for the race lead, I'd love to see it, because that was the battle for the race lead we saw, and it was great overtaking, great battling, great, keeping it clean with those two. So that's kind of the racing we want to see, and I hope we see that next week. All right, well, make sure you guys tune in to the podcast later this week that we're going to have.
Okay.
Tier 3 on Friday, Tier 2 on Saturday.
Actually, no, early race safety car.
Extra
Tier 1 on
rotation.
Sunday. Yeah. You'll have to find out what goes on next week in Germany. Make sure you tune in there, and we'll see you guys later.